desire, uttered or unexpressed, the motion of a hidden fire that trembles in the breast. Prayer is the burden of a sigh, the falling of a tear, the upward glancing of an eye when none but God is near. Prayer is the simplest form of speech infant lips can try. The prayer, the sublimest strains that reach the majesty on high. Prayer is the Christian's vital breath, the Christian's native air. His watchword at the gates of death, he enters heaven with prayer. Prayer is the contrite sinner's voice, the turning from his ways. While angels in their songs rejoice and cry, behold, he prays, and cry, behold, he prays. Nor prayer is made on earth alone, the Holy Spirit pleads, and Jesus at the Father's throne for sinners intercedes. O thou by whom we come to God, the life, the truth, the way, the path of prayer thyself hast trod. Lord, teach us how to pray. O thou by whom
Good morning and happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. Okay, now you don't look too excited like the way I am excited here. So, happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. Oh, I know it is a little bit chilly out there, but in our hearts, I want to believe that we are warm. We are warm. Well, let's see if the magic is going to happen. You know, I'm excited because something big is going to happen in our church starting today. Something big. And you and I are going to be part and parcel of that something big. Well, today we are going to have quite some activities that we are going to do together collectively. So, and they will all depend on how we follow instructions. Now, thank you, deacons, because you are handing out those, those handouts. That is good. Okay, now I am here. The handouts can wait for a little bit. Okay. Let's try something. Let's see how we are going to do going forward in the next couple of minutes as we wait for Pastor Wesley to arrive here. Now, I'd like you to turn to your right-hand side. And I'd like you to greet that person who is sitting on your right-hand side and tell that person, God loves you and I love you too. Please do that for me. Okay, all right. Let's get back. Let me ask a question, and I would like you to show by your hand how many successfully completed that task that I just asked you to. Please raise your hand if you completed your task. Okay? So I'm seeing some people who completed their task, others did not complete their task. All right. Now let's see. Okay, I think we'll need it down for now. Thank you. Suppose we all follow the instructions. What were the instructions? You turn to your right-hand side and greet that person who is sitting there and tell that person what? God loves you and I love you too. If all of us followed that instructions, who will have completed that task successfully? If you turn to the right, the person sitting on your right, and that person had turned to the person sitting to their right, how did you complete that task successfully? It's getting a little bit technical here. So somebody didn't follow their instructions very well. So today, we will need you to follow instructions very, very closely on what we will be launching today. Today, we are launching the Reach Initiative. Now, what is this? We will be here to talk about this quite a bit. Now, it is very exciting. This is a time to be in Edmonton Central Seventh-day Adventist Church. You are here not by mistake. You are here because the Lord needs you to be here. We may want it down for now, please. We'll have it at the end. Okay, thank you. So, we are so excited because we are going to turn today not a page in this church, not a chapter in this church, but God is calling us to start writing a new volume in this church. Now remember, this church has been here in existence for how long? For how long? For over 50 years. Now, most of us, we were not here when this church started. But, people like Papa, they were here, I think. And Mama, they were here. And we really thank such people for starting this church so that for us we can have a place to worship when we come. You know, people like Mari, Ramsey, they were here 50 years ago to start this church. You and I were not here. Now, I am told that this church is central in Adventism in this city. Almost all the congregation, if not all, were born from this church. That's a heavy burden, isn't it? You know, they say if we forget our past, then our future may not be as good as it's supposed to be. So we don't want to forget the past. We have been here for a long time. Yet the Lord is calling us today to be here and to have a presence that hasn't been with us in the past, especially in the community. Now, do you remember when we had the last quarter lesson? If you don't normally come for Sabbath school, you probably may have missed that. A whole quarter we were talking about how we are expected to have an impact where? In the community. For a whole quarter. Were you challenged? I was challenged. And I started asking myself some questions. What impact do I have in the community? What impact do you have in the community? What impact do we have as a church, Edmonton Central SDA Church? What impact do we have in our community? Now you may be asking yourself, but who are our community? Do we know who our community are? We are not quite sure. So how can we answer if we don't know who our community are? Now I'm gonna suggest, and you are going to tell me whether that is true or not. Now, those people who live in the neighborhood here, including the hospital, are they part of our community? And I would like you to say yes or no. So those are the two options you have, either yes or no. Now, the people who live around here, including in the hospital here, are they part of our community? Resounding yes, that's very true. How about those people who are driving by our church, even as we continue worshiping? Are they part of our community? Yes, they are part of our community. You see, our community is big. How about those people who live in Alaska or New Brunswick? Okay. You understand what I'm talking about? Are they part of our community? Okay, now I'm hearing a mix of yes and no. Those people who live in Alaska, are they part of our community? Okay, I'm hearing a mix. Okay, all right. Now, how about the people we work with, the people we go to school with? Are those part of our community? Our neighbors, the people we live close to, are they our community? Yes, I hear that. How about those people right now who are in Kingsway Mall right there? Are they part of our community? Now let's even expand it even more. How about the new arena, Rogers Place? We can actually walk from here to that place, isn't it? Are they part of our community? Yes. And God calls us to reach all these people. How about the people who live in Africa? No, there's some doubts now. Okay. Yes? No? Not sure? Our community, God that has given to us, is the people that we are expected to reach as Edmonton Central SDA Church. However, if we really are honest with ourselves and ask ourselves some question, as a church, how effective have we been? What impact have we had in the community? If we could actually put a mirror in front of us and ask ourselves, as a church, how have we done in the community? What grade will we give ourselves? Probably not a very high grade. Will you agree with me? Does that need to change? Not sure? We are here to say and to propose that that needs to change. That's why the church leadership has made it very clear that this is going to change. This is a transformation that we ought, collectively, all of us together, want to change so that we have an impact into our community, so that our community may know our existence. And by so doing, we do God's will, because the Lord wants us to impact the community with the good news of salvation. Is that a good thing for us to do? Absolutely. Now, how are we going to do that? This is where the church leadership has decided that we are going to implement the REACH initiative. Now what is this REACH initiative? It was actually introduced to us a couple of months ago by some of the pastors from North America division. And this is where we need to change ourselves from what is called mission drift, where we are just drifting in doing our mission in community, to what is mission driven, being conscious in what we are doing in the community so that we can have an impact into that community. That is what church leadership have decided that we ought to do. And it is not one person, 2 people, or 10 people, or even 50 people who are going to do it. It is all of us, 300 plus people, who are going to be engaged in reaching out to the community. In fact, the church leadership has gone ahead and elected the REACH Initiative Coordination Team, whom I would like now to invite to come up front here. These are the individuals. Now notice that this individual, they are just a coordination team. They are not the ones who are going to reach out alone to the community. These are the people who are going to coordinate all of us, 300 plus, in our effort to reach out to the community. Now, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Deacons, I think we can wait for that. That will come later on. Okay, I'll call for that later on. How are we going to transform ourselves from mission drift to being mission driven? What is the difference anyway? Where we are today and where we want to go. Where we are today as a church is that in the mission drift position that we are in today, we don't have a pretty clear focus that all of us coalesce around and do stuff led by that one focus. And that's what needs to change. It's a huge change. It's a transformation. It needs to change to a mission-driven where we have a written mission, we have a written vision, we have a written strategy, we all know where we are going, and all of us collectively and all the activities happening in the church are going in that same direction. In the mission drift, we are talking about where only leaders-driven church, where leaders are driving the church and all of us are waiting for the leaders to make decision for us and follow what they say. Absolutely not. That's what is called dependence church. Absolutely not. We are crisis-driven sometimes, or we are event-driven. We have a lot of events that are happening, good events that are happening all over the place, but all those events are not joined together. And that is what is called working in different silos, independent church. But in the mission-driven, where we want to be and to go, that is where we call mission-driven church, where everybody, me and you and all departments, are collectively interdependent on each other as we have our impact right into the community, as we come up with initiatives right into the community. In the drift state, we are pretty busy doing good stuff, very good stuff, but they are not joined together. Calendars are busy, people are even burning out sometimes. But in the mission-driven, we are saying we're going to do few stuff sometimes, but do them in an excellent fashion. The same way when God created the universe and the earth, at the end, what did he say? He looked back and he said, it is good. We also want to do his business in that same fashion, in an excellent fashion. In the drift way, we all have programs and activities that are inward focused, only focused to us as members of the church, to the children, to the youth, to the family, to the seniors, which is good. But then we are called to have an impact in the community. In the mission-driven, that's where we have an outward look. All our activities have got a community angle attached to it, so that we have programs that are attractive to the community. Not just attractive to ourselves, but to the community. And only in the drift state, only a few people get involved. Only a few people come for Sabbath school. Only a few people come in the afternoon for Bible study and other activities that are happening in the afternoon. But we are talking about in the mission-driven where we want to be, everybody, all 300 plus of us, we are engaged, completely engaged in what is happening, and more so having an impact into the community. And in where we are today, not a whole lot of accountabilities. We do stuff, and then we continue doing other stuff, never checking back and saying, did we actually achieve our goals? Did we have goals anyway to begin with? But in the mission-driven state where we want to be, we come up with measures and goals and check ourselves. Did we achieve our goals? If we didn't, we change a little bit so that we can achieve our mission to have impact into the community. Wow, that's a difference. Is it easy to move from the drift stage to be driven by mission? Absolutely not. It is a huge change, especially for such a big church like we are, 300 plus members who are here. It is not easy. How are we going to do that? The REACH initiative suggests 5 steps. And those 5 steps are going to be presented to us by the men who are standing behind me here. At the high level, these 5 consecutive steps, which means we have to start with the first one, go to the second one, the third one, in our effort to transform ourselves. The very first one is to build a mission-ready team. A mission-ready team that includes you and me and her and him as well. All of us. Can you imagine a team of 300 plus? How impactful it can be? Jesus had a team of 12. We can have a team of 300 plus. We need to have that one ready. And then the second one is we need to agree. What is our mission? What is our vision? What are our priorities? Together collectively as a team. Then the third one is having that strategy written so that we all know where we are going. And remember, talk is cheap. So then the fourth step is going to be we need to walk the talk, implement that strategy, and hold ourselves accountable that we said we are going to do this. Did we do it? If we didn't do it, why not? We need to go ahead and actually do it. And finally, that's going to be our culture. That becomes who we are. So this is not a program that we are talking about here. Absolutely not. This is a way we are going to transform ourselves to be mission-driven. That becomes our culture. constantly, our way of life as a church here. And you can remember these 5 basic steps in an acronym, BASIC. That's easy, isn't it? To remember, because you are going to be part and parcel of this transformation. You and me and us collectively. And within these steps, by the way, we have lots of habits that we need to pick on. Habits that we may not be having today as a church. And those are going to be presented to us. I'm going to invite now our head elder, Kwesi Ama, to talk to us about how we're going to build this team collectively.
Happy Sabbath, church. And thank you, Brother Amos. He's already mentioned that we are going to build a team. And at this point, I want you to think about the team Oilers, who is just a couple of blocks away from us. If you are a Christian, you are invited to be in a team. God called you and me, and he gave us a job to do. That job is never done in isolation. In fact, it summarizes and comes through in what he says in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 and 20. Essentially, it says, go. Go as a team and not as individuals. And remember, the first team that was built by Jesus himself in the team of 12. If you were a Christian, you know that your first habit, indeed, in becoming a Christian was that vertical link, if I can use that term. You were connected to heaven. And that was not enough. God wants you to be connected horizontally to each other. And it is only when we get the vertical and the horizontal connections, that is when the team begins. That habit of connecting essentially faithfully to God and connecting with other believers, especially around here, is what helps us build that team. For every team, the strength of that team is actually measured not by the strongest members in the team, but by the weakest members. Think about that. And what it means is the weakest members, or if you think you are going weak, you will be needing help. There will be the pastoral team helping you develop so that you can be a faithful asset to this team and to heaven. It is so clear that considering the work that is being given to us and the methods we are using now, we will never be successful at that task. The only way we are going to be successful at it is when we bunch together in a team, focused. And remember, one day very soon, we will be looking into his face to give an account of our stewardship while we were here. He's already challenged us in Matthew chapter 25, and he will be bringing it back. When I was in pain, when I was in prison, when I was sick, did you take care of it? So this is why it becomes important that we band together as a team to go. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to Brother Gaff. He's going to talk about how do we get the team to be very focused on our mission. We need to refocus, bring it very sharply into focus. And then he will talk about the vision and then the priorities. We cannot do everything, but he's going to help us in this line. Brother Gaff.
Thank you, Dr. Kwesi. Happy Sabbath, friends. Yes, Elder Kwesi talked about the team, building a team. Don't be frightened because you have been invited to come and build a whole huge building, a team of more than 300 people. But this is simply following the steps of Jesus. He built a team of not only 12, but of his disciples. And he gave them a mission. So also your team that you have built, you must be having a mission. You might have agreed on a mission, or you have to agree on a mission, vision, and the priorities. So what will be your mission? Well, it's not new. You know it already. Jesus, after building the team, he told them, go ye therefore. Go to do what? Teach them. Teach who? All nations. The commander said that even people from Alaska, from Africa, from everywhere is our neighbor, is our community. And so he was repeating in simple words that we can understand what Jesus said. Teach all nations to observe what I've commanded you to do. And then you might have a vision. John F. Kennedy, one of the American presidents, had a vision way back before the technology was advanced, a vision of having visited the moon. He said, in 20 years' time, we'll visit the moon. Even the scientists had not dreamed of it. Did they visit the moon? Yes, they did. You have a vision. That vision is the picture you see of a church you want to be. What kind of church do you want to be? That's your vision. This vision is built on some factors. The factors include these following scenarios. The South School department. Like the classes, do you come on time for the South School lessons or program? That is a question. The church we are focusing to be in your vision is a church that will come on time. A church will be crowded on a South School lesson or South School classes or South School program. Many more. How about the youth? How about the young children? How about the elder people? We have accountability. That is what we need to see as a vision. But the priorities, among all those factors, you need to choose some few priorities. Could be 3, could be 4, could be 5, so that the church you want to be, can build from those priorities. And this building, this vision, all this can be achieved through some strategies. And the strategies can be written so that everyone see them. Even if you forget, you look at what is written. Then you remember, yeah, this is the strategy you need to follow. Brother James is going to illustrate on that.
Happy Sabbath, church. Happy Sabbath. Brothers, I think the time has come. We have to change as a church. We have to change. And for us, as Elder Gav has talked about, for us to have a vision and to have a mission and to have priorities, we have to change. And we need to have a strategy. And we have to have those habits ingrained in us. And these habits, when they are ingrained in us, they become our character. And when they become our character, it becomes a culture in us. This vision that we need to write as a church, because it is not us. We are the team, including you. We are the team. And we have to work together. Because we have been called by the Master and said, go. And we have been sitting down. We have been enjoying ourselves. The time has come, brothers and sisters, that we have to move forward. We have to answer the call. And we have to come together and write a concise vision, a constructed strategy. And a strategy is a living and breathing design, a performance that will guide our church. And every department will have to submit their top priorities. And we have to hold ourselves accountable. Are we really achieving these things or not? Do we really know whom we are serving? If you know him, that he's the King of Kings, you will give your very best. And this strategy has to be simple and precise, that if I ask a small child, they can know, and they will tell you what it means. Brothers and sisters, do we know whom we are serving? Is the Lord Jesus Christ, the King of Kings. And are you ready to answer the call so that we as a team can work together and implement this strategy and implement the vision and the mission that together can be transformed into the disciples that Jesus has called us to be? And now I'll call Brother Pastor Duli Menza, and he will speak to us about how we can implement this strategy into something that we can, both of us, like all of us can use. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother James. Happy Sabbath, Church. To implement the strategy, we will not be here at the Gentiles if the disciples didn't preach the word. If Paul didn't go to the Gentiles to bring the good news. Today we don't think about ourselves as being Gentiles. We just think about in terms of Canadians, Africans, but we are Gentiles because we are not Jew. So these people accepted to do the work. And when we have strategy, we have to implement the strategy. To implement the strategy, we have to do 3 things. And these 3 things are called habit. The first one is about leaders. Leaders will have a leadership that is developed. How can that leadership go through development? It will be through orientation, training, resources that will be provided to leaders in order to help them to be successful in their work. The second habit is collaboration nurtured. Jesus, in his prayer in John 17, he repeated the word unity, I think, more than 3 times. When we work as a church, we have to work in unity. All departments to work together are in a church-wide initiative as reaching out, community reaching out, as evangelism, as discipleship. The third habit is follow through to result with discipline. It's a long subtitle and sometimes it's a bit confusing. What is it? It's about leaders to be held responsible, to be held accountable, not by people outside, but by themselves. To know that the services that they provide is provided in a way that is excellent, and they have no excuse for what they do. They know that they have done what they were asked, and they have done it the best way they know. Now I'll hand over to Elder Kwesi, who will present how to create culture.
Thank you, Pastor. So from these short presentations, in your mind, we have agreed that we need a team. And having built a team, we know we have to focus on a mission, our vision, and with strategies. And it's all of us who are going to come together to get this thing done. And after that, we are going to put our vision and our mission and our strategy into writing. Pastor Diulu just talked about implementing it. Now, we need to build a culture. Remember, we are moving from where we are now to where we want to be. And that is what we call this initiative, the transformation of ourselves from where we are now, where we come here, we sit down, we return our tithes and our offering, we go home on the Sabbath, have a good time, and we say, praise the Lord, we did a good job. But if that was it, how many people are going to be saved? And if that is all God wanted, then when I was saved, I should have probably died because I was saved. But I'm not saved for myself. We need to create that culture for the whole church. The current camp is too old. We are moving from the current camp to the new camp where we are going to be efficient. Remember, it is not a program. None of these presenters have talked about a program. A program has a start point and an end point. This is an initiative transforming us from where we are until we are able to build that new culture. We need a new way of doing church. We need a new culture. Culture is defined as that deeply ingrained habits of thinking, of feeling, and of behaving that characterizes a group of people. The current model will never get the job done to go. Maybe we should call it the no-go habit or the no-go state in which we find ourselves now. This culture is not working. We need to build a team. We have agreed on our mission, vision, strategy. We will refine it. It's not a one-time document that lasts forever. We will come together periodically to refine that document. We will put that strategy into writing with achievable and measurable goals, and then we will implement them. We will hold ourselves accountable. That is when we are creating the new culture. If you will look back at the beginning of this year, most of us probably had resolutions. Most of them has failed, if you will be honest with yourself, or have not been implemented. It is not very easy to get change. The only person who is really interested in change is a baby who is in a wet diapers. What it means is majority of us are very comfortable. We have a huge initiative, an inertia. And that inertia doesn't make it easy for us to move. But when we have agreed with the help of God that we want to go, something will happen. The change will happen. There is that desire in us to want to return to Egypt. But we are about the master's business and we want to go. It is only going to be done in the new culture. The current culture doesn't work. The initiative is bringing us from where we are to where we want to be. That is why there will be periodic service, anonymous. You wouldn't have to put your name down. We will assess ourselves. We will measure ourselves. We will see whether we have achieved what we want to achieve. If not, we come together again. What made it fail? What needs to be changed? That is what we want to do. And all this we are doing because the command is to go. I'm going to transfer control to Brother Amos to bring us on the next part of it.
Thank you, elders, for presenting that. Now, is this sounding a little bit too complicated? We need to bring it down to what it means to me and to you and to us as a church. These are the 5 consecutive steps that we will need to go through them, and a lot of habits in there that we will need to adapt so that we can be mission-driven and have an impact into the community. How many times have we been asked that question? If this church all of a sudden disappears from this community, will the community miss it? When you hear that question, how do we normally respond? Inside of you, inside of me. Yeah? Will they miss us? Do they even know we exist? And that's what we need to have it changed. So, And once we follow all those steps, we're going to soar just like those 3 angels, delivering the messages that we ought to be as per the Lord's mission. Now, we are going to also, remember we talked about holding ourselves accountable. So it's going to start right away. So right away, we are going to do a survey. Deacons, if you want to bring in those surveys and distribute those, we are going to do a survey on where we are today on those 5 basic steps. And each one of us are going to rate our opinion on where we are as a church. Now, everybody needs to take this survey. If you can read and write, if you can understand, take one, I saw Joel reading here. So Joel, you need to take one survey as well. Okay, take a survey, don't pass them. Everybody needs to take it per head, not per family. Okay, and a pencil as well if you don't have a pen. Now this survey, we are going to ask ourselves questions about, some statements about the 13 habits that have just been presented to us. And I'm going to wait for you to get those survey. Now remember, this is a no-name survey. Please do not write your name on the survey. We just want your opinion, your honest opinion, and not your name per se. Now that doesn't sound very nice, but you understand what we are doing here. Now, if you are a visitor, you are also invited to participate, but only visitors indicate on the survey that I am a visitor. Now, who is a visitor? If this is your first, second, or third Sabbath, we'll consider you as a visitor for now. Okay, so just indicate this is visitors, because you may not know how we have been living around here. But everybody else who can read and write, and we are going to walk through this, and I'll show you what needs to happen. Now, as the deacons continue, if we want to move a little bit faster there, this is how you are going to respond. This is how you are going to respond. And also the people who are in the mother's room, don't forget them. You need also to take a survey, and we'll be doing it together collectively, and we are not going to come back. We'll go one after the other, and once we are done, we are going to hand them out. So you're not going to stay with those surveys. Why are we doing the survey? We want to hold ourselves accountable. Your voice is important. You are part of this team, 300-plus team. You are part and parcel of it. We want to hear your opinion as well. And we'll be doing this quite a bit. Even us here, I need one as well. Hey, give me one. I'm part of the team. Remember that. Claim your position in the team. Okay, I'll explain how we're going to fill this out. Yes. Absolutely. Right. Okay, now the challenge we're taking home, and what we are doing is very spiritual, by the way. It is part of our transformation to do what our Lord wants us to do in the community. Right now, we are not very effective, so we need to do that collectively as a team. Thank you. So what you need to do is, hopefully everybody has gotten it. Thank you for that comment. You need to respond into one of those. From 1 to 10, you need to circle one for every statement that we are going to read together collectively. Now, if we read that statement and you are fully in agreement with that statement that it is already our culture today, you need to circle 10. If you think that we completely do not do that, then you're circling 1. So that's all you need to do. 1 or anywhere in between, 1 to 10, 1 to 10. 5 being midway. And if you genuinely do not know whether we do that or not, now don't take advantage of that. You can circle that not applicable, NA. You need to circle that if you are not quite sure whether we do that. Okay, I think everybody has got the surveys. Does everybody have the surveys? Okay, let's start with the statement number 1, habit number 1A. What is that statement? Spiritual climate. Remember building the team. How is our spiritual state today? How is your spiritual state and how is our spiritual state as a church? At least once a year, we measure our spiritual climate in a no-name survey to ensure a Christ-like spirit is in our church. We use the result to plan inspiring worship services that members of all ages rate as unusually effective. If that is our culture, please circle 10 if you believe that that is already our culture. If you think we don't do that, please circle 1 or anywhere in between. All right. Thank you for doing that. Let's go to the second one. We're going to pick speed here a little bit. The second one is about our relationship. How do we relate to each other? You know, at least once a year, we conduct a no-name survey of our board and our members to measure the extent to which positive attitudes exist within our church. We then use the results to continuously improve relational health. What do you think? Where are you? Where are we today? Okay? Do we do that? I'm going to give you a second, and it is gone. Let's go to habit number C. Collectively together. Joel, you're not doing it. I'm seeing you. Yeah, you need to be circling and giving us your opinion. Informed guidance. What does that mean? In addition to inspiring writings, we use data to monitor trends and issues in the communities and within our church family. Our team relies on both research and inspired writing in order to make enlightened decisions. We collect data like we are doing right now. Or we know our community. Do we know the trends in our community? Do we do that? What do we think? That's done. Habit number D within step number 2. That is agreeing on mission, vision, and priorities. Mission pervasive. Just about everyone in our church knows our church mission statement from memory. It is on our church bulletins, appears throughout the church, and is emphasized regularly in our church services. Is that what is happening today? What do you think? We want to hear from you. 1 second to do that. The next habit in step number 2 about vision. Within the last year or 2, our church board and members have come together in visioning sessions and agreed upon the picture they would like our church to become within the next maybe several years. Do we do that? Go ahead and make your opinion. Let's go to the next one. It's about our priorities. Just about all our church officers and most of our members know the top 3 priorities of our church for this year. Our church leadership has consulted NAD's 5 rich core values that we've just had for ideas in setting these priorities. Do we do that? What do you think? Tell us what you think. Let's go to the next habit. In step number 3, habit number G. And you have them, by the way, in your handouts that you will take home, and you will constantly look into those. Okay, our church board uses a concise written strategy updated every year with a short version for all our members. We make sure strategy is a key church board agenda item that guides church operations. Do we do that? Let us know your opinion. We are not going to come back to these questions. All right, the next one is step number 3 about our annual plans. Every year, each church ministry submits its top 3 outcomes, not just activities, but also outcomes and goals it plans to accomplish for the year. These annual roadmaps, when approved by the board, informs the annual budgeting process. Does that happen? Do you know? Let us know. And the next one, now we get to step number 4, writing those strategies. Okay, are we still there? The next one is about leader development. Our pastors and church officers have sufficient orientation, training, and resources to be highly successful in their work. Every one of us has a coach and feels strong church-wide support. Is that going on? Let us know. How about the next one? I hope we are all together. All right, I can see some of you pretty busy. That is good. The next one is about collaboration. Our various church ministries and departments work together very closely. We work as one team on a whole church initiatives such as community outreach, evangelism, and discipleship. No silos at our church. Is that the state? Please let us know. The next habit in step number 4, that's about being disciplined in doing what we have said we'll do. We put systems in place to ensure that every part of our church executes our strategy with excellence. We hold ourselves accountable for exceeding the expectation of those we serve without excuses. Does that happen? I'll put in my opinion. Please let us know about your opinion. And finally, into step number 5, that of creating culture. You know, is this our habit in our continuous transformation? Our mission and excellence journey never stops. We carefully examine our practices, learning new ways to excel. We research our church's impact in order to know how well we are accomplishing mission. What do you think? We would like to hear your opinion. And the last one, okay, it's been a long stretch here. The last one is about citation of excellence. We've earned a reputation throughout the North American division as an outstanding church. We keep this reputation regardless of who we serve as our pastor. Who serves as our pastor? Many churches routinely ask about our successes, and they can also learn and grow. If that's the case, please let us know. Thank you so much for going through it. Now, what I need you to do is to ensure that you have folded your survey into 2, and please pass that survey right to the middle aisle so that the deacons can come and collect it. Remember, we are building the team, a team of all of us collectively. Now, how do you get engaged? Please pass them over right to the middle. Pass them right to the middle of the aisle. And the deacons will just walk by and collect them, including the pencils as well. We will continue using those. Let's break it down. Let us break it down. Okay. Please just pass them to the middle of the aisle so that deacons don't have to go right through. They can just walk in the middle aisle. Thank you. All right. Okay. So what is my role as a member of this team, Edmonton Central SDA Church team? This is where we start challenging you. Your role is please pray for this initiative. It is not easy to change the culture of a 300-plus member team. Such a large church. Changing our culture is not easy. Now, if we change and we have an impact into the community, is the evil one happy with that? No, he's not happy with that. So he is going to raise resistance. Resistance which only the Lord can melt away those resistance, because we need to have an impact into the community. The next thing is you want to connect with the coordination team and get to know more about this initiative. It is important. It is important to connect. And you want to make sure you keep tuned in the 3 areas that the Reach Initiative will be communicating through your bulletin. If you look at your bulletin, there is a corner for Reach Initiative, information coming through. They're outside Pastor Wesley's office, in the board, and in our website as well, church website. Connect and find out what is going on. It is important. And start building those relationships outside our groups. Reach out to that person who sits next to you, or sits in the other aisle, or upstairs or downstairs. Reach out to those people and start building those relationships as one team, and actively get involved. Actively get involved. How can I be involved? For example, we will need volunteers today afternoon. Volunteers whom, after church, please come see any of them, because we will need to analyze those results and present to you next Sabbath. We need to know where we are today. And after 1 year, we'll repeat the survey to see whether we are improving or not. The goal is for us to be mission-driven. All those questions 10 all of those statements, 10 of them, that is our culture going forward. That is our goal. Now, let me break it down before we get to the message for today. I'm going to tell you about one of our members already who is using some of these habits. We have a young man called John Leung. I haven't seen him today. Is he here today, John? Oh, he's not here today, so we can talk about him. You know, he's... Now, John Leung, and I'm breaking it down so that we all can relate to how we need to play in this initiative. John Leung, our young man, you've always seen him at the piano playing the piano, isn't it? He has identified his talent. John Leung. He has identified that he likes music. He likes playing the instrument. John Leung has gone a step further and converted that talent, that spiritual gift, into a service within our church. He plays for the church. Beyond that, he teaches for free pianos to our young people right here in church on Sundays. Every Sunday's afternoon, John Leung is here teaching our young people. Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing? Now imagine if John Leung and a couple of others, because I know a lot of people here can play instruments, and a few of others come up with a program where we say we are going to open it up to the community. So as a church, we support them and send flyers to the community and say, whoever wants to learn piano for free, come to Edmonton Central SDA Church. Do you think we are going to get some people who will take us on that? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now imagine they will be coming here and we are providing them with free services. That's how we start breaking our barriers with the community. Now that is just one. How about you? How about you identifying what is your talent? How about you identifying what is your spiritual gift? How about identifying what is your passion? And some of us, we have a challenge identifying that. So Pastor Wesley is going to walk us through that process in the next 3 Sabbaths, starting today. Initially talking to us about spiritual gift, and finally showing us how to identify it and how to convert it to service and to mission as well. So I'm going to invite Pastor Wesley now to come up and give us that. Before we do that, we want to we want to take thank you. Okay. All right, please.